MSNBC host Joy Reid just blasted the Gabby Petito case, calling it missing white woman syndrome. She said the fact the case has gone so viral is because of systematic racism, and that when people of color go missing, they don't get anywhere near the same level of attention. She backed all of this up by mentioning a missing geologist named Daniel Robinson who went missing in June. She also brought up another non-white missing person named Mary Johnson. Mary is a Native American woman that has been missing since November. She apparently disappeared from a Washington state reservation. Well, a lot of people have gotten mad at the MSNBC host, saying that race plays no part in the Gabby Petito case. MSNBC...
Don't you like it when people promote these information without any context? So, well, they don't give their personal opinion on it. I don't think that... Well, okay, so we could look into what she said.
MSNBC host Joy Reid just blasted...
Let's see. Missing white person. Okay.
Is still being.
I don't give a shit about anything you have to say. Let's see. What does she have to say?
To endure that kind of pain. And the Petito family certainly deserves answers and justice.
Okay.
But the way this story has captivated the nation has many wondering, why not the same media attention when people of color go missing? Well, the answer actually has a name: missing white woman syndrome. The term coined by the late and great Gwen Ifill to describe the media and public fascination with missing white women like Laci Peterson or Natalie Holloway, while ignoring cases involving missing people of color.
Okay.
The Gabby...
Yeah, I mean, listen. This is an interesting conversation. First of all, I guess we would have to figure out, I don't know, what's the percentage. This is like a whole thing. Is this actually true? Do we not report on other people that are missing? I'm not entirely sure. However, it sounds like it would be true. That's what I'm just going to say. Because maybe statistically, there's equal representation between all women and of white or women of color of missing this. I don't know. Who fucking knows? I'm going to assume that it's not true, though. I'm going to assume that it's underreported for non-white people. The reason would generally be because first of all, that wasn't a horrible framing. I thought that was reasonable. Second of all, it really does boil down to media representation and beauty standards. All right. So first of all, it's a little hypocritical that an MSNBC host is the one criticizing media not covering non-white people, because you are part of that narrative, right? But she is using her platform to speak out against it, so I'll give her obviously that. That being said, that this has a lot to do with really the halo effect of Western beauty standards, as well as negative stereotypes, mostly anti-black stereotypes, stuff like that. Right. So first and foremost, the halo effect is basically, for the most part, basically attractive people getting better service. They get away with shit more, et cetera, et cetera. If you look like a hot girl, you're obviously, if she punched you in the face, you'd be better about it if it was an unattractive guy. And we're just going to assume they both hit you just as hard. But the idea is that people who are generally more attractive, which means that they align more with Western beauty standards, get away with more things. And this would be an example of that, right? White women obviously align more with Western beauty standards than non-white women, because Western beauty standards generally, there's a lot of different factors. It's not just about whiteness. You can have a black person that aligns more with Western beauty standards than a white person, because there's also like, facial structure, nose, body slimness, etc. But generally speaking, white is one of the variables of Western beauty standards, right? On top of that, there is a narrative that black women, and I know that they talked about people of color in general, but black women tend to be, the stereotype is that they are more mannish or aggressive, and so white women have the stereotype of being like the damsel in distress, where black women have the stereotype of just being loud and obnoxious. And it's another reason why you could say that either the media doesn't push it or the people don't want to consume it, because that's another factor too. Most people in the United States are whites. They probably just don't give a shit about black people, and they don't want to see a black person. I'm not saying that's okay. I'm saying that's part of it as well. These like implicit biases that we have in our mind, where we don't care as much about a missing black person or indigenous person than a white person. Because I think it's in Alaska, there is a pandemic of missing Native American women or indigenous women. Sorry, I don't know. Sorry for that. and missing indigenous women. Nobody gives a fuck. Oh, and not just missing, but also sexual assault. I remember a story hearing it a while ago. It blew my fucking mind. This guy strangled an indigenous woman until she passed out, then jerked off and came on her. And then he got arrested, and then he got off with like almost either nothing or almost no charges. How the fuck does that happen? Now that mixes in with not just indigenous issues, but also issues of like women and sexual assault. It's incredible how little we care as a society about people that aren't in the forefront. So there's a lot here. It's uncomfortable because, especially the way that this guy framed it, I think that this person was, I don't know who the fuck this guy is. I think that she was being sensitive. She was bringing up a very important topic, but she was being sensitive. She's like, this woman's family deserves justice, but there's no coverage when it's not a white person, and that bothers me as a black person. Now, if it makes you uncomfortable, understandable, but that's life. Life is uncomfortable. And what other time would you speak out against this than now? Now, you don't have to like her. You could disagree with her and also still agree with this point here that she's making. And I think she's making a reasonable point. People don't generally care about non-white people getting, murdered or abducted in some capacity. Now, you could probably make an argument that all the people that are taken and arrested and whatnot, we don't really cover that many. But, I think it's...
Petito case.
I don't disagree with her. I agree with her. I think she makes a reasonable point.